All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome everyone. It's Monday evening and we are working on the book, The Practical Work on Self. Uh, and right now we'll be moving on to chapter 15. But before we do that, I remember last week we kind of agreed as a group to do the exercise from the previous chapter. So I just wanna uh, give space for that if anyone has something that they wanna share.
I during the week somehow some style of exercise I did. Uh, I I exercise some compassion, attentiveness to people that probably I wouldn't give them a minute, and I gave me more than a minute, and I exercise patience doing that. Um, Interesting to me to keep that in mind. That's it.
Thank you, Bernie. Yeah, I would say for me it was pretty much the same about uh being mindful and being present about and having compassion. That's that's how I approached it. And it wasn't one person. I extended it to a few people.
So in my case, it was the house help, and even while we were discussing it, I had a feeling that, she does slop around a lot and she leaves a lot unattended, and it sometimes have to repeat everything multiple times. I'm very patient with her usually, but sometimes it just I have to tell her that, this is not how this should be and this is how you should do it. So I was losing patience with her. And we almost had a disagreement, and she's like, okay, I'm leaving, and then she left and came back after 3 days. So I tried to take that as an opportunity of uh, giving in more understanding and more compassion and more this thing, which with her, which I did. And I realized that respect is more about empathy also. Sometimes, somebody who you don't want to respect is somebody who you don't want to empathize with. It could be their characteristics, how they conduct themselves, how they work, how they approach things in life, right? But having empathy about that person, that, okay, it's fine. They're learning at their own pace. It kind of creates respect at the same time. So that's what my note observation was, that they are not separate. To to respect somebody who you already respect, you probably don't need empathy. You are already inspired by them. But somebody who are you not naturally able to do it is because you have disagreements with them. You don't agree to their uh, things, right? And that agreement comes only when you start opening more doors of understanding and empathy. So that was my observation. And yeah, she's very happy. The minute I start understanding and empathy, she's again very happy. Mm, mm.
Should we move on to the next chapter?
I noticed something interesting, that there was one time, I think it was Wednesday or something, when I was supposed to take the kids to some place, and I said, okay, should I go to this place or the other place? And both of them were giving me remorse. This one was, if I go this one, then the other one was missing, and if I go to the other one, this first one was missing. So I thought that was interesting, that either or it is going leading to remorse.
So what did you do then?
Regardless of what I do.
What?
Regardless of what I did, I don't remember. I picked one and did that, but it was both of them was usually it's one or the other, right?
So there must have been a point where you had to make a decision while feeling remorse.
Yeah. So yeah, remorse is. I mean, uh, it will come up even if you don't do anything, or do it or don't do. I mean, it's just that anything would trigger it. Um, yeah, I think it's one of those the reactions, or not. I'm not sure. It's different though.
What is different?
Remorse is different than the reactions, or is it one of the reactions? I'm not 100% sure.
What you saying, I don't know if it has some relation, but it came to my mind. The Nasruddin, the story Nasruddin, that he says, you can't please everybody. No? Have you heard it? You can't please everybody somehow, and in a way, what you are saying is that everything could some kind of remorse. But anyway, the reaction is something that to be studied and experienced. I think that is
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I think remorse is. It feels like um, it's there.
It's what?
It's just there. Um,
Oh, you mean as opposed to being a reaction?
Correct. Yeah, there is no need for a trigger. I think it just um, or there is trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the other day, I did not need a trigger. Regardless of what I do, there was remorse in both the options. It just felt like it was there.
So when you say they both had remorse, what you really mean is they both had a reaction. One, the kids had reactions.
No, kids were okay. They did not. It's just I felt that they
You
were
had a
okay
reaction.
reactions.
If I go here, I'll be bad. If I go here, I'll be bad. So that's a reaction. That's not remorse. That's just you reacting to trying to please, which is okay. I'm just saying it's not, but there is a concept of the remorse is just there. It's a recognition. It's like a higher emotion. You know, I did this and I have remorse of conscience. My conscience responds. Just a thought. Just a thought.
Yeah.
But it's good that you got you're seeing more, remember noticing our campground is our own inner sphere, right?
Mhm.
What's going on in me, not the world. That's a different story.
David,
Yeah. Mm.
Yes,
could
sir.
could 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 remorse be uh, conceptualized or categorized as something we owe debt? You know, a debt, something we somehow feel that we owe to. Could
It's
it be?
possible. Yeah, sure. It's possible that that's how you interpret the remorse. The remorse, though, becomes before now I need to pay for this. You know, the remorse is more, I stole $5 from my sister. What kind of person does that? Then the other person says, oh, I need to pay her $5 back. Okay, it's who is it that committed the, what would you call it? The slip of conscience. Because if you're truly conscious of your sister, you would never steal $5 from her. Something slipped in you, but you thought stole the $5.
There were multiple times during the week where I felt that feeling of remorse due to different situations or circumstances. But now that I'm looking back at it, I never used it for my work.
What do you
I,
mean? Give me an example if you're able to recall.
well, let's say, last Wednesday I was uh, supposed to meet my friends for dinner, and I was not able to do that because I was busy at the lab. So I was like, so I was, um, uh, feeling remorse for not being there after being invited.
But did you communicate with them that you weren't coming?
Yes.
I don't know if that's remorse. That sounds more like just, envy or I wish I
Well,
had been able
no,
to go.
I communicated to them pretty late. I should have let them know before.
I think
Um,
that's closer to remorse, If an hour and a half before the event you said, I can't make it,
yeah.
that would have been honorable. That would have shown character. They would have accepted it. They're your friends. They love you. But not saying anything until 5 minutes before, maybe you're not acknowledging them as much as possible as the friendship and the value of friendship at that moment.
So now I realize that I was just feeling remorseful at that time, but I completely forgot about being present during those moments. And
Well,
um,
did you feel remorseful or do you feel guilty?
a bit of both.
Okay.
Well, guilty the next day because I forgot to tell them,
Yeah. Yeah,
and remorse the previous night because,
the guilt is, gosh, what are other people going to say about me? You know, this is obviously a very delicate area of inner exploration. It's okay. You don't have to get it all at once. We're going to get it in a few years. We just let it soak in. But I guarantee you, when you hear the word remorse, it's going to click something now. It's going to be a little
hmm,
memory. It just, remember that? What was that chapter again?
remorse of
Uh,
conscience.
Really?
David, those who were who in the Catholic
Yeah.
church or whatever. I remember when I was a child, many years ago, the sins, and they were white sins, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
white white sins, very light sins. So the priest, when you confessed, didn't give much notice because they
Penance.
were sins.
Penance.
Yes, it depends. But at that time, the bad things, sins always had to do with, of course, lie, sex, of course, bad thoughts, egoism, uh, taking the name in of God in, well, el nombre de Dios. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know. But there was a so to, I think to, I don't know the word is exact, to assuage
Yeah,
anxiety,
yeah,
you know, the ritual of the punishment and the pardon was very bright. It was very finished and said, oh, took it away from my conscience.
yeah.
Uh,
So if you steal a candy bar from your sister, but then you confess it to the priest, and the priest says, say one rosary,
yes,
then you
Hail
think,
Mary,
oh, good, I'm done. No, you're
yes.
not. Having remorse of conscience means, who was it that stole the candy bar from my sister?
Mm.
And sitting with that and chewing that and digesting that, that's the processing of karma that's very useful.
I think at least in that kind of religion mark is that you tend to bribe. Uh, you
Yeah,
you continue doing it, and you you somehow you pay for it, and that is bribery. No, I think
yeah. It actually derives from the what's called the sin of simony. Way back, when Simon
uh,
said, "Teach me all these things, I'll give you money." And he was about, you can buy your way into heaven. And so if every week you go to confession and you say, I stole money from the poor, and the priest says, oh, that's not good, say rosary. Next week you come back, I stole money from the poor, say one rosary. Next week you come back, pretty soon the guy's got to up the ante because you're not getting it. It's you he's trying to study. So anyway, EJ in this book here is just giving us practical ways of subtle self-observation. This is a book of self-observations in a much more subtle manner. I love its practicality, and there are 24 exercises. There they are.
Should we move on to the next chapter?
You're the leader here, buddy. Tell us what to do.
What say you guys?
We need
Yes.
guidance.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Nishanti, go ahead. Do you want to start reading?
Chapter 15, Doorways. The practice of remembering ourselves, invoking our presences, having the continual presence of I makes the vibration of being, which gradually forms a relatively permanent crystallization called gradation of evolution. The presence of the non-phenomenal source of attention within the awakened machine, because negative emotion is absent in the awakened machine, produces the vibration which gradually forms itself into the permanent crystallization which we call the being. Each stage of transformation of the being produced by the awakened machine is called gradation of evolution. We can separate the process of transformation governed by the human biological machine into 21 definite gradations of evolution, each slightly more objective than the previous gradation in the sense of existing in higher and higher dimensions. As we scale upward toward the absolute us.
Under no circumstance is it possible for us to attain the three highest forms of sense, the highest of which is the Absolute itself, pure being. No one knows, again, no one who knows anything would really wish to evolve to the gradation of the Absolute, and it would no benefit to oneself or to the Absolute. Each gradation of evolution represents a specific crystallization. These higher gradations of evolution can only be the results of intentional transformation. I pass.
The transference of the identity from the non-phenomenal source of attention to the being is necessary for the moment of machine death, when it is once again returned to its natural organic source of substances. Even the non-phenomenal source of attention eventually dies if it has existed without transformation. But the being which has become a permanent crystallization can never die. Perhaps we ought to first taste what it means never to die. Maybe we would prefer to just fall into annihilation and forget everything. And I pass.
Now, two beings have exactly the same frequency of vibration. Frequencies are limited in number because they are, as is everything, material. However, due to a surplus of apathetic humans and a corresponding paucity of transformed beings, very few frequencies have ever been taken off the market. I pass.
The stable
Okay.
gradation. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, Nishant, please go ahead.
Go ahead, Elka.
The stable gradation of evolution, several times removed from the ordinary state of a human being. When taken in relation to a successful transference of identity from the non phenomenal source of attention to the being, can be called objective conscious when developed. Although we may not understand exactly how this might be true, stepping through a doorway is to taste death in some form. When passing the threshold of a portal, we can use this as a reminding factor to exert our will to awaken the machine. Passing factor to exert our will to awaken the machine. Passing a portal, even in the form of an ordinary door, is like moment of death. The passing of the portal for which we prepare ourselves all our lives. We practice the awakening of the machine during these little deaths so that at our passing, when the chains of life are thrown off, we feel our life slipping away. We will have attention, presence, being, and an unshakable work habit. Only then will the taste of death and not feel will we ta- only then will we taste of death and not feel its sting. Yes.
Has anybody done the doorway exercise before?
I
Yeah.
have done the doorway exercise, well, in a different form. Uh, well, I would say the same thing. Anytime you're going through a door, just use that moment to remember yourself.
Yeah, I've
Yes.
That
done.
was
Is that what you think too, Elka? That's how you've seen it? You've done it?
Yeah, like coming, it's the same exercise. I took it from Every Day a Holy Day, and every time you cross the doorway, you invoke your presence and you say, I am here, not just in words, but also sensing your being at that particular doorway.
Okay. So why don't, is everybody here in a position where they can get up and walk to either a normal door or to a quick portal?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So now, as you approach the portal, realize that you're actually leaving the space that you were in. In a sense, dying to that space and entering a new space. Okay. And that one moment of passage is the moment of transition. Does that make sense, that what I just said?
Yes, can
yes.
attempt that.
Yeah. So just consider that moment of transit. Okay. So let's break from this, get up, and
Sorry, David, you went on mute.
it should take you 1 minute or less.
Okay.
Okay.
Amazing.
Any observations?
Amazing when you put your attention to it. It's amazing. To be true, I never took notice of it. But
Okay, good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Nikhil?
Yeah, so I've been through that door so many times, but for the first time, I opened it and I kind of looked at the room through a new lens. So it felt like it's a new room. Well, I was more aware of
All
it.
right.
the change of air, the silence,
Yeah.
the atmosphere, when you do it every day, every time, every minute, but without uh, attention, without realizing that it's somehow another chamber, no?
Yeah, it is another chamber.
So I got up and I felt the very thought of leaving this room. It's I can sound like a freak, but I felt sadness about leaving this room,
Okay.
and um, um, I, I was more determined to experience what I'm feeling, and um, it almost felt like my whole I'm spread out in this room so much, and I shifted to another space. The temperature changed,
Yeah.
the air changed, the quality of air changed, um,
Okay.
and I took a couple of deep breaths to kind of assimilate myself in this sudden shift,
Okay.
and I still realized that a part of me was still hanging in the room behind. And I took more breaths to kind of assimilate myself more. And then I didn't want to come back from there.
You did not want to come back.
From there, I did not want to come back to the place
Good.
where I was earlier sad of leaving. Um, and
Good.
I came, I
Yeah.
wanted to hold on to that space for a little longer. And then I came back this time because you had already started speaking. So I had this realization that I have to come back to report.
Mm,
But yeah, this is not
fine.
how I've done this exercise before. I used to be forcing myself, oh, bring your presence, feel your energy.
Yeah.
This time it was way.
If
Mm,
you're forcing yourself, then it's probably the wrong approach. Let that trigger creativity in you to see whatever exercise you're doing in a new way.
yeah, I was almost like trying to switch on a button, like I switch on the electricity in a room. No? Every time I would say I'm here, I would try to switch on that thing in a very, I would not like to use this term, but mechanical manner that, okay, let me feel the flow inside me. How am I feeling? Bring my presence. But this was happening more, I would say, emotionally and way more gently.
Okay. Yeah, the gentle part is correct. Now, if you do this enough, you'll actually almost feel a membrane between the two spaces. Like you're passing through a subtle membrane into the new space. All this is very subtle. It takes less than a second. Okay?
But we have to slow down a lot in order to. Uh,
Well, you have to slow your brain down a lot, miss. Okay? You have to slow your brain.
no, but we have to slow down the body as well. Like to
Maybe.
just let that.
I mean, if you're frantic, you can't be in presence. You're correct. It does help for a long time. Nikhil, go back one page, I think. at the top. Okay, so what does that mean there? 21 definite gradations of evolution. Have you ever seen this in this chapter before? Has anybody ever read the chapter?
No.
Yes, we have, but we haven't seen this.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't see it, I haven't seen it defined anywhere in any of his literature, which doesn't mean anything. I could have easily missed it, okay? But I have a way that I have interpreted it, if you'd like to hear that.
Please.
This is my interpretation. Nikhil, would you allow me to share my screen?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. You see this? Does anybody know what this is?
It's the Kabbalah.
Well, it's not the Kabbalah. It's from the Kabbalistic thinking, correct? This is called the Tree of Life. Okay? And then the absolute is up here, like you see there's little vague comments up here. And then it starts to come into being and it forms the crown as it's starting to manifest. Wisdom, Chokmah, Bina. Then it goes down to strength, mercy, strength, Tippereth, which is called the heart of the labyrinth. This is a labyrinth. Splendor, victory, foundation, kingdom. This is where we live. Okay. Here's the big guy. This is us. Okay. It is said that you cannot enter this top triangle and remain with any individuation. You absorbed at that point. Does that make sense? And if I remember this correctly, there are 21 paths depicted here. Each path is a particular form of work, like the path from kingdom to splendor. It's a particular kind of vibratory work. So this is called the Tree of Life from the Mystical Kabbalah. You can look it up and print it out if you want or whatever you want to do.
So, Remy, how do we read this Tree of Life map?
This is a depiction of creation where it's going down from the top. Okay? It's like a serpent. So it's manifesting from the unmanifest all the way to our Malkuth, or the kingdom, where we are today. Does that concept make sense, Nikhil?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Then as we work our way back up, we get closer and closer to the Godhead. This is called the middle path, path of the heart. And sometimes EJ is known as that's part of his path of Tippereth is where the Christ consciousnesses are, which would be, Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna should be. So they have the heart of the world. But we're way down here, right?
Yeah.
So if we work on ourselves, we can develop permanent, you can take this down now and go ahead and put the book back up. Or I'll take it down and you put the book back up. This is just my interpretation of that clause, okay?
Yeah. Nikhil, can you go up a little bit? No, maybe
Want me to keep going down?
down here a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just slowly
Where
keep
was
going.
that? Okay. So 3 after that. Oh yeah, this one. No two beings have exactly the same frequency of vibration.
Yeah.
Frequencies are limited in number because they are material. However, due to surplus of apathetic humans and a corresponding paucity of transformed beings, very few frequencies have ever been taken off the market.
So go to the airport or go to a big mall and you see hundreds of people walking by, right? Every single person is a different unit, a different manifestation of the absolute, seeking in their own way to get back to the Godhead. They don't always know that or think that, but it's, whatever they're doing to buy a brand new shiny car because their illusion says that'll get me closer. But it's the uniqueness. And I always think, like, who knows the answers to all of that stuff? But I always just think that God's sitting there and he goes, let me see the many ways in which I can manifest to self-reflect back from that unique vibratory sensation. We know that everybody on this call is uniquely different, right? We feel different. We look different, of course, but you get next to each other and you can feel a difference. Ah. So, so your job is to take your particular unique vibratory sensation and rise it up, raise it to the next level of vibratory conception. So you can feel different, you can feel more. And I think the doorway exercise is one of the great exercises to do it. Go back to the next page. When passing the threshold of a portal, notice he didn't say doorway, portal. We can use this as a reminding factor to exert our will to awaken the machine. So as you approach the portal, you can feel the tension in you starting to arise, which is the exertion of the will. And it might even be just 1 second, and you can feel the anxiety of it. And then as it gets to that position, as you touch the portal, and there it is in its grandeur.
This, David, makes strongly the point that this has little to do with seeking happiness or self-help. Yes, the way that this is explained is very. You don't find it many, at least this kind of. You can hear people or sect or cults talking about evolution, but the price is always the happiness. If you are good, you will go to heaven. You will be happy and rich and powerful. And here it's another concept altogether. No, it's way out of that line. And I would, if Nickel moves, scroll down a little bit,
I think
the other way, slowly. Perhaps we ought to first taste what it means never, and maybe we would prefer to just fall into annihilation and forget everything. That forget everything is the because I have been rereading the Master Game by The Rock, and it is continually in that this kind of work is tough, and being halfway in our intention is not good. No, that is something that bothers me in a way. I know myself. I'm not too much in it, but I say to myself, who knows? And also I say to myself, how lucky that there are groups, in this case, this group, that we can and rest somehow in the group. I'm a little emotional. Sorry. Thank you.
I'm very interested to hear if anybody practices this, if anybody feels that the membrane. I mean, I'm putting it in your brain, which is not very fair, but
What the membrane is around us? Is that what
no,
you're
I
saying?
just sometimes when I do this exercise quite a bit, I can feel like I'm literally walking through a membrane to the next space. In other words, I'm in this space and then and now I'm in that space. And it's a micro thin membrane, which I don't have much to say about it. Just feels like I can feel like that segment of transit.
Nice. Yeah, I think we have to practice this. Like, you know,
Yeah, like I was just thinking, imagine how many doors I'm gonna be passing through this week. You know,
I have one small question here, related to the doorway or the portal, like passing through that. So, like, I always experience, say, you stay at one place, say, even for 2 days, like you go to some place, stay in hotel, or you visit some place, right? Or you have to go somewhere. So, kind of, I'm not sure if the anxiety is the correct word, but you start feeling something if it's going to be a long journey, maybe month or two or even more, then you are very anxious and it starts like couple or even more before. What is that? Does it has that
Yes,
connection here?
very much so. That's the sense that you're going to be transiting. You're going to go from one space to another. You're aware of the fact of transit, that the space you're in now, which your machine is real comfortable in, is going to be in a space that you don't know anything about. Airport, meeting. It's going to be you're aware of the transit or the potential for transit. It's a great feeling to be in.
So my mom and dad, they are leaving tomorrow for India. And my mom, since last 8 days, she's saying she lost appetite and sleep. She is not able to sleep. So I'm just trying to like understand, is that has to do with that, or she's going through some conditions, you know? So
Well, we don't know anything about her physical conditions, but she is definitely going to go from, she's been with you now for what, 2 months?
5 months.
5 months in this space, right? Think of it as a vibratory, general vibratory space that she has become accustomed to, correct?
Hmm.
Now she knows that she's leaving it, and she's known for a number of days. She's leaving that which she has accustomed herself to vibratorily to another space that is, she knows mentally, but it's not in her bones. You know, they say, make it feel comfortable in your bones. Some people say that's an Americanism. And so I think she's in transit. She knows she's in transit.
Hmm.
That's a good thing. It's good to know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
And she should get some sleep.
you.
David, David,
Yes, sir.
how could we match this we are talking about with that phrase used by EJ in the writings very much, many times? It's always the same day. It's always, you know.
That's like the next level of vibratory sensation, Bernie. When we get ourselves there, you can see it's the time suspends and the space, the nature of the space suspends and it becomes universal.
Uh-huh.
Right now, we're on the level of, okay, which is okay.
Always the same day. Always. Well, it's that moving from space to space is a kind of dying. You die to this room.
Well put.
You
There you go.
birth in that, and yes, it's a very interesting way of seeing it. I must say I never realized that way.
And you are right on the dot of what it means, okay? You're dying to the old space, literally, because you leave this space and you are no longer there, right? And now you're in this new space. You don't know what's happening in the old space. There might be a big worm in there, okay? You leave one space, you die to one space, and awaken and are reborn in a brand new space. Kind of
You
nice.
don't panic. You don't panic because you bring it in your memory and you turn your head and you say, "Oh, it's still there." But in reality, it's your because it's still there, but it's still there when you get there. The other one has also died. in a way, you know. It's
Do you really know that it's still there?
yes, in your
Like I'm sitting
imagination.
right now in my desk, and there's a big, not big, but there's a hallway going down to where my library is, right? I can't actually see down there.
Mhm. No, exactly.
I don't really know what's there. And so if I face that uncertainty with, I don't really know, isn't it brand new every time?
Yes. You can panic
Yes,
if you realize it the way things are, no? But it's funny also.
it is.
All right, so it looks like we'll be doing the doorways exercise for this week.
Okay.
Okay, Michelle.
Okay, Michelle. All right, then I guess let's come back next Monday and
Good seeing everybody.
let's see how this
Very,
week goes.
Thank you.
very, very
What's
good
the
night.
homework? What's the homework for next
Yeah,
Monday?
thank you.
Fast
It's the doorway.
door.
Okay.
Chapter 15.
Thank
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 you.
you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night
Thank you.
and
Bye.
good morning.